Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. Look, our hearts and our prayers and everything goes out to the Californian fires. Look, it's absolutely beyond words. You know, look, I have many people that I know in that area that have lost homes, and it is just tragic. There's just no words. So whatever you can do, even if it's a small donation, even if it's $5, if you can donate to one of the legitimate fundraisers to try and help these people get back on their feet again, would be much appreciated. Let's just pray for rain that puts these terrible fires out and people can start to sift through what's left of their life and their belongings and start to make a start again. I do appreciate it. I understand what fire does. I've experienced fire myself, and it's a very tragic thing. People say, "Oh, it's clean. It's you know, it's not like a flood where everything's muddy." Well, no, but in a flood you might be able to salvage something. In a fire, there's nothing left. It is, you know, devastating, and it takes all your precious memories. It's not the building that we lived in, it's the treasures, it's the mementos, it's the photos, it's the things the kids and the grandchildren gave you that are priceless, that, you know, money can replace that. So again, our hearts go out to them. So this week on this, the show, we're going to feature the Simply Tarot card of the week, and then we'll move into the astrology section, and then we'll take a couple of callers. So let's liven things up a little bit. Simply Tarot card of the week is the Sun. Now, this is a really positive card to come out in the midst of all these California fires at the moment. It is the card of marriage. Now, when I talk about marriage in the tarot, I talk about legalized church marriage. And I know that might sound a little bit old-fashioned this day and age, where many people choose to live together, you know, cohabit like a marriage situation. But to me, marriage still means marriage. It's that official piece of paper that says we're binding two people together. So it's the card of marriage. It's also the card, the secondary meaning is of happiness and bright prospects. Now, wouldn't that be a nice feeling to sort of wash all over California at the moment, some happiness and some bright prospects? Let's all pray for rain and make it happen. I'm sure the power of positive thinking and prayer can bring this to an end, and these people can start to get back on with their lives again. It is a very, very positive card. You can see a child on a horse waving a flag, the sun in the background, the sunflowers, everything just spells happiness and radiates happiness, and things of brighter days to come, that we do have the opportunity there to make things a much brighter place. And sometimes just by smiling and being kind to people and sort of reaching out and asking if you can help them in some way, or just even say hello to somebody, can brighten their day if they're very lonely and don't have too many people to have contact with. And I think even with all our technology this day and age, we are finding people are more and more isolated and have less and less communication than what they did. And sometimes just that human voice or somebody reaching out and touching you or placing, you know, a hand on your shoulder can be something that people haven't experienced for a very long time, and it can really change their whole day. It can make somebody feel a lot better than what they were feeling. They mightn't have felt well, and just a little gesture of kindness makes a big difference. So that's what I think of when I say this, the Sun card, is I think of us really needing to radiate and generate some sort of happiness in the world. So we're going to move on to the astrology section. You know, look, I get lots of messages each week about people telling me how informative it is. They look forward to the section. If they miss the show live, they catch up with it on one of their various devices or various places that you can catch up, and too many to mention here. So it's important that I think that we all sort of take out of this section what is appropriate for us. And it's not about dividing the zodiac into 12. I don't have time to do that and go through an individual situation here. But what I do is I give you the highlight package of what's happening, not necessarily what's trending on social media or somebody thinks is important. I see it in what I see, you know, half an hour before the show. It's that fresh that I look at where the planets and the are sitting and how they're affecting us, and that's how I bring the report to you every week. Okay, the sun is still in Capricorn, so happy birthday, Capricorns. We've only got a few more days left of the Capricorn sun before it moves into Aquarius. So let's enjoy this period of time where we've got this Capricorn energy. The Capricorn energy is about structure, is about government, big business, about bringing official situations in our lives and making sure that we've revamped our lives, I suppose, in a way. It's the beginning of the calendar year. It's a good time to sit down and look at our finances, to look at all our utility bills. Have we got the best deal on our insurance, our electricity, our telephones, etc., etc., etc. So it's a time of reorganisation. No matter what your star sign is, it's a time to really sort of look at the official things in your life and make sure that they're up to the minute, that have you got everything sorted out? What if there was something that was to happen unexpectedly in your lives? Do your family members know where your important documents and papers are? You know, things like that. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're young or old. We need to inform people that are closest to us where to find important documents at a time that might be needed. And, you know, it's really important to make sure that you're on top of your own personal finances at the moment as well. So we've got the sun in Capricorn, which is making an uncomfortable transit or an opposition. It's called an opposition. So it's sort of like at opposite ends of the zodiac. So it's like almost like a seesaw going up and down, you know, a push-pull situation. How do I handle this? So we've got the sun in Capricorn opposing or in opposition to Mars in Cancer. So it's directly opposite. So Capricorn energy is about structure, making sure everything is sort of cemented together, that we're very cool, calm and collected. We approach everything in a very dynamic sort of way, but a very logical, practical, earthy sort of way. Where Mars is the planet of action. Mars wants you to get up off the couch, do something different, you know, get out of your comfort zone. Now, Mars at the moment is also going retrograde, and he's going retrograde until the end of February. So Mars is sort of not so much hobbled at the moment, but can be seen to be being a little bit all over the place. 1 minute very motivated and raring to go and raring to move forward, and then the next minute sort of putting the brakes on a little bit and say, hang on a minute, maybe I need to give this a little bit more thought. So with this push-pull situation, it's sort of almost like as if, and this is for the whole 12 signs, not just Capricorns and Cancers, it's for all of us, that, you know, we might get this great motivation to sort out our finances and look at our, you know, our banking arrangements and our, you know, utility bills, and all of a sudden we think, oh no, I think I'll go for a walk, or I think I'll have a cup of coffee, or I think I'll do something else. And that's Mars sort of just saying to us, okay, take a breath. Let's just have a little rest here. We can come back to it in a little while, and we can look at it with a renewed set of eyes that, you know, maybe we're just feeling a little bit tired. It's not saying we're being lazy. It's just saying honor what Mars is telling you, that maybe you need to take a little break. Maybe you need to do something else around the home, or maybe you need to get some more information. So it's going to be sort of like all systems go, and then sort of all of a sudden we're stopping, and then all of a sudden we're back to being practical. And it might seem uncomfortable that all these different energies are swirling around and can change, you know, in a moment's notice. But it is important, because that way we won't miss anything if we honour the energy. We also have Mercury, the planet of communication, is sitting in Capricorn at the moment. Now, Mercury in Capricorn reminds me of like the school teacher with the red pen saying, no, you got that wrong, no, you got that wrong, no, you got that wrong. Mercury in Capricorn is very, very pedantic. It wants everything to be precise. It wants the information to be precise and, you know, dot the I's, cross the T's, put the punctuation in there. Don't embellish anything. Now, this is really difficult for a lot of people, because a lot of people like to add their own spin, their own interpretation to information that they might be sharing. This is not the time to do that, because someone else is going to come along with the red pen and say, no, that's not quite right. So this is affecting predominantly the earth signs, which is Capricorn, Virgo and Taurus, the opposite sign of Cancer, but it is washing over the other remaining 8 signs. And, you know, Mercury in Capricorn can, you know, it's a good placement, don't get me wrong, but it can also be sometimes that without thinking, if it's in your chart, you just automatically have that red pen out all the time, ready to mark everybody else's conversations and correct them if the information's not quite right. So be aware of that. You know, you might have some friends that have Mercury in Capricorn. Very interesting friendships indeed. We have Jupiter, the planet of luck and opportunity, is sitting currently in Gemini, has been for some time now, but it's been going retrograde for some time and will be until the end of next month. So it's an interesting configuration here, because Jupiter really wants to expand everything out. Jupiter wants to sort of make everything big and bold and as the best it can possibly be. And being in Gemini, Gemini likes to get out, explore the, you know, the local environment, likes to flitter from one thing to another, you know, likes to really get out and know what's going on in their own environment. So it makes it really difficult when you've got a planet that sort of feels like it's being hobbled a little bit, being told to sort of restrain themselves a little bit by the retrograde, or slow down, take your time, don't be in too much of a rush, where Jupiter just wants to expand everything out and do it in a big and bombastic way, and let's do it now, why wait till tomorrow? And with the Gemini energy really wanting to sort of bring it back to a local sort of flavour, or ask you to sort of look at things in your local environment. So it is affecting the air signs, which is Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra, and the opposite sign of Sagittarius. So if any of those four signs have been trying to bring something new into their life, or hoping to get a promotion at work, or hoping for something to sort of change, I'm going to say hang in there. It's not that it's not going to happen, it's just been slightly delayed. And it's almost like the powers that be, particularly if you're looking for a promotion, the powers that be have been very carefully monitoring your progress. So this is not the time to drop the ball, or this is not the time to lose the momentum or the enthusiasm in the job, thinking, well, I always get overlooked. It's now the time to double down and give it your best shot, because by the time things sort of wind down at the end of February, going into early March, there may be a surprise then. You might just get that thing that you've longed so much for. But if you drop the ball now, there's no hope of that happening. So you need to keep that momentum going. We also have Uranus, the planet of the unusual and unexpected, and I've been talking about this for a long time now, has been retrograde in Taurus. Now, it will be there till the end of the month. It's been shaking things up for Tauruses particularly, and a lot of other earth signs. So it's Taurus is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, and the opposite sign of Scorpio. So with the Taurian energy really focusing on your personal finances, where you're living, your day-to-day stuff, the things that are important to you, you may have found, particularly if you're a Taurus, that you've had some opposition to that from close family members or friends and things like that, people that you thought that you could rely on, that were your support system, all of a sudden have taken that support away from you. Now, this is part of Uranus trying to show you that your life is not functioning the way that it should, that you need to sort of start thinking outside the square, you need to start thinking outside the box, that maybe the way things were structured in your life for many, many years are now crumbling, and are crumbling for a reason, because it's time for a fresh start. It's time for us to look for different, more exciting, interesting sort of answers before this retrograde finishes. And if you don't honour what Uranus is trying to tell you, that you're being stubborn and pig-headed, which a lot of Taurians can be, then Uranus will come along and create these changes out of nowhere, and they may not be pleasant to begin with, but will end up being for your own good. But you'll go kicking and screaming because it's not in your control. Well, you've had plenty of time by Uranus's standards to make the changes, to think outside the square. And if you don't do that, in the next few weeks, you may find things might be forced on you that you aren't palatable, aren't what you wanted. So have a good look around, make sure you've made the changes, you've honoured yourself, and move forward. We have Venus, the planet of love and affection, is conjunct or holding hand Saturn, which is the planet of discipline. And Venus and Saturn are both sitting in Pisces at the moment. So it's really, really interesting for any sign. It doesn't matter what your star sign is. If you're hoping to bring in love, or wanting to bring about a new relationship in your life, I want you to sort of go to creative outlets. Now, creative outlets to me is like the movies, going to a concert, going to something where you're going to learn something that might be, on a creative side, might be taking up some new study. I mean, even learning to create a website is creative. So, it's something, it's step out of your comfort zones, go and see some live music, go to something in the park, do something different, but also make sure that there's a certain amount of structure with this, that, it's not just, I'm not against anything bohemian or different or anything like that, but make sure that there's something solid behind it, that it is a reputable sort of thing, even though it might have a bohemian twist to it, that it's, it's being presented by, a reputable company, and you can go there and you're safe and all those sort of things. So anything creative, it's the time to sort of step out of your comfort zone. And this is where you're going to meet somebody that's a like-minded soul. Sometimes I think we have a bad habit of, I can't meet anybody, but I'm still going to the same places, doing the same things every week at the same time with the same people, and I expect something to change. We've got to shake it up a little bit. We've got to get out there. We've got to do something different. After all, it is a new year. Everything's fresh and sparkly and new. Why not take advantage of that? Why not sort of shake it up and say, let's do something different? Instead of making a New Year's resolution, if you haven't done so already, then maybe make your New Year's resolution, or your intent for this year is to step out of my comfort zone and do something different, at least 3 things, so that then I can turn around and say, well, I did shake it up. And, it's given me a whole new perspective. I've met some new people. I've made some new friends. And, it's taken me out of my normal everyday comfortable life, and I've shaken it up a little bit and shown the universe that I'm ready for change. We sit here and we say, I want change, I want change, I want change, but we don't do anything about it. We've got to be prepared to show the universe that we are committed to whatever it is that we want. Look, I'm a firm believer in that we get what we deserve. And, and it's wonderful that people have vision boards and dream books and all those sort of things. And I'm not against those sort of things, but you've got to actively get up off the couch to make some of these things a reality too. Sitting there wishing and daydreaming and wanting doesn't necessarily make it so. You've got to actively get up and participate in life for things to change. We all can't be Samantha on Bewitched and just wiggle our nose and make things magically appear or disappear. Be wonderful if we could. And that's one of my favourite sitcoms of all time, because I just sort of feel it's timeless, and, there's so many hidden messages in that. So if you get a chance, go back and watch it. So anyway, that's where we're going to leave the astrology this week. There's still a lot more happening. I mean, lots of stuff is happening, and it's, too much to sort of talk about in a very short time. But we're going to talk with Michelle now in Honolulu in Hawaii. How nice, Michelle, to live in Honolulu.
Aloha. Hi.
Oh, lovely. Hi. I haven't been to Hawaii, but I've seen a lot of it on the television, and I'm sure it's absolutely more magnificent in person.
Yes, it is. It's very nice.
Good. How can I help you today, Michelle? Do you have a question I can answer for you, sweetie?
I just wanted to see overall what you see for me in the coming 2025. Any changes?
Mm-hmm. Okay. First thing that they were showing me as we were talking about the wonderful place of Honolulu was that there's going to be a lot of endings, change and transformation this year, Michelle. It's like you've been working really silently, quietly, behind the scenes, not really sharing with anybody else what you're hoping to bring in for 2025. It's just sort of like, not so much as it a secret, but you've just been diligently working towards this, particularly through 2024, closing things off, finishing things off, getting ready for change that you want to bring in. And it's like, well, okay, the new year's here, I'm ready now, let's start the ball rolling. I don't know that it's going to be quite that quick. What they're showing me is by about March, it's like the momentum is starting to build, and we're starting to feel as if we're right on track for where we need to be. Interestingly enough, one of the things that they were sort of showing me is that you're not attached to money like most people. I'm not saying you don't like it. Well, you're not driven by money, I suppose, is probably a better choice of words. Like, yes, you need money to survive in the day-to-day world, but it's not your driving force for why you do something. You do things because you want to, because it's part of your soul, not necessarily because of the financial reward that could be there at the end of the day. It's more about you coming from a very spiritual sort of perspective. Is that how you've been trying to gear your life?
I never really had much my whole life. So, I mean, we make enough to survive. But I like to be happy. But yes, of course I want money. I want to make more. I figure out, how I can be more comfortable.
Oh, of course. That wasn't what I was saying, but to me, it was sort of like you live by the rules of, if I'm a good person and I do the right thing, then that should bring, the rewards that I need. You're not driven by, I've got to go to work today because I need that money. I've got to have more money. Some people are just driven by money. Yeah. You're driven by a much higher force to me that, you want to be a good person. You want to do the very best that you can do. And if you can help somebody along the way, that's well and good. You know what I mean? Like that's your philosophy. Yeah, and that's what they were saying to me, was that was a really good place to be, and that's becoming more like second skin now. It's like it's just very natural for you, and with that is going to come more financial rewards because you're focused more on being a good person rather than you are. I mean, I know we all have to live. We all have to have money. That's important. But to me, it's sort of you want to be the very best that you can be every day. And that's your driving force. And with that, will come the financial rewards. They're showing me there's a lot more money to come towards you this year. And it's not so much that you're going to have too much that you won't know what to do with. That'd be a nice problem. But it's more the fact that as the day goes by, things get a little bit easier. And it's sort of like, okay, I don't have to be as stressed out about how I'm going to pay the electricity bill or how I'm going to do this or how I'm going to do that. It's just flowing, and it's flowing nicely. Is there is there a thought there of maybe making some changes to where you're living? Not necessarily a move. I'm talking about some changes, some modifications.
Oh, that would be nice.
Because
I always want to modify.
Yeah, they were showing me in the second half of the year that you'll have enough money to do whatever it is that's been part of your dreams, shall we say, for a long time. And it was around where you were living, and it's like, wow, I can finally do this, and I can do it comfortably and easily, that I don't even, it's not taking from something else. So for that to happen to me,
Wow.
It shows that there's got to be such an improvement on where we were last year to where we are now.
Wow, okay, that's good.
Yeah, so Michelle, all I can say to you is keep doing what you're doing, because the universe is listening and going to help you, sweetie.
Well, thank you. That's some good news.
It is, but you're very, very welcome. Happy New Year, sweetie. We're going to talk with Elizabeth now in Wisconsin Rapids in Wisconsin. I can't trip over my words today any more than that. In the USA, are you there, Elizabeth? And I do apologise for not pronouncing the location correctly. How can I help you, sweetie?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have a question for me, sweetie?
Can I ask you a question about someone that passed away, or is this should I be?
You can.
About?
I can't guarantee that they'll come through with a message, but I'll do my very best to try and bring them through.
Yeah, I would like to hear from my son who passed away 5 months ago.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry to hear that. I can't begin to imagine how painful that is to lose a child. The only thing that's coming through here to me is, and I'm not sure that he's actually making direct contact, I've just got symbolism of you don't seem to understand why. Is that a fair statement?
I guess I would say.
That's all he's showing me, is that there's unanswered questions there. You haven't got the whole picture yet. That as if, you haven't been discovered the whole story behind his passing. That's all he's sharing with me.
Okay. All right.
So I'm taking from that it must have been a very sudden situation that took you by surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, because see, sometimes when somebody passes like that and they're younger than us, they struggle with communication of trying to get through to us, things that we might think are as important, but to them something else may be more important. And what he was trying to share with me is you don't have all the answers yet. That, what you know is only part of the story. There's another 70, 80% that you don't know yet that will unfold over time. I can tell you that he's with you every day. He hasn't left your side. He wasn't ready to go. Why do I feel there was another person attached to causing your son's passing?
Well, he died of a drug overdose, so I guess.
Okay, all right. Well, that might be okay. There may have been somebody else there, but okay. I'm not disputing the fact that he died of a drug overdose, but the fact is, was he trying to sort of change his life at that time? Was he working towards trying to change his life?
He was, but he got on the wrong track somewhere along the line.
Yeah, because he keeps telling me that you don't know the whole story. And I keep pressing him to sort of say, well, tell me what it is that we don't know. And he keeps saying to me, it wasn't meant to happen that way. That wasn't part of the plan. So I can only take it from that he had an idea in his head of what he hoped to achieve or where he thought he was going. And like you said, he got on the wrong path, attracted, the wrong people or whatever. But he keeps telling me it wasn't meant to be this way. So, and he showed me that there was at least one other person. I felt there was two other people that were close by when he passed. And it was, I'm not saying they caused it, but I'm just saying they were there and did nothing about trying to prevent it either. So he keeps telling me that, he wants you to stop crying. He didn't do it on purpose. And he was really, really, really trying to get his life back on track. He wants you to believe that, because that was the truth. He was really trying. This was just something that happened that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know whether that's any comfort to you, but I can only give you what he's giving me, sweetie, and he is really, really sorry, and he keeps saying to me, but this was not meant to happen. This is not how it was meant to be. I was really trying to make my life better. So I can only share with you what he's sharing with me, and he's telling me that he wants you to know that he did not deliberately fall off the right track. You know, it was just a series of circumstances that led to this, and he didn't do it intentionally.
Right. Yeah, I understand.
I mean, I'm not disputing the fact that he didn't ingest some drugs, but I don't know that he knew exactly what it was. Do you know what I mean? He thought it was, how can I say it was a safe amount? Because, I mean, is there any safe amount? But that's what he's sharing with me. He thought this was something that was, he knew it was illegal, but he thought it was a safe concoction. Do you know what I mean? It was just, I was just going to have a little fun, like having a beer.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm sure he
didn't
overdose on purpose.
No, he didn't. No, that's what he says. He said, I was right on the track. I was doing well, and then this temptation came along, and it was like, you know, I'll just have one. You know, it was like being an alcoholic. I'll just have one drink. It won't do me any harm. And this was unfortunately a lethal cocktail. But look, I don't think there's anybody to blame, in as much as it wasn't a deliberate act by somebody else to give your son something that was going to kill him. I don't believe that. I think it was just one of those unfortunate tragedies that happened that nobody sort of knew exactly what they were doing. And unfortunately, you paid the price for that. Look, I'm really sorry about your loss, and I hope over time that you can find some comfort. But this is where we've got to leave it, Elizabeth. Unfortunately, we've run out of time on the show. So my heart does go out to you, and I'm sure all of our viewers feel the same way. So I hope you find some peace soon, Elizabeth. Anyway, that's where we leave the show this week. It's always difficult when somebody loses a child, particularly. I just can't begin to imagine how you get your head around that. And, you know, like it's always nice to speak with people from various parts of the world. And this week I want to leave you with a song that shows my age a little bit, because I'm going to take you back to the Godspell days, and it was an amazing musical, and I know they've gone on to make a movie. Here in Australia, one of our most amazing female singers did a version of one of the hit songs from Godspell, and I want to leave you with that this week. It came across my desk the other day, and I thought, I haven't heard that song in years, and it brought my heart back to, you know, the musical times and the times when we were all so much younger, and I think we all had a little bit more inspiration or aspirations that things were going to be great. And I think over the years, I think we've lost a little bit of that magic. So let's try and bring a little bit of that magic back this week with a song by Colleen Hewitt, who is very, very well known here in Australia and a very, very powerful singer. And I know my producer loves one of our Australian singers, and this woman sort of would rival her, I think, a little bit, Colleen Hewitt and Day by Day. So I'm going to leave you with this song from the 70s. Until next week, I hope we get rain in California and the fires go out. And I just hope that everybody can find peace this week, because, you know, we need to find some peace. We need to sort of get back into the swing of life being peaceful and stop these natural disasters that are happening and people losing their homes. So until next week, Colleen Hewitt, Day by Day, enjoy. Bye for now.